Hello and welcome to 10 Minute Takes. We are Jim and Sam, and this is the show where we give you our rating first, and then we talk about the things that we did and did not like about the show that we just watched. Today's show is Castlevania Seasons 1 and 2. This will be a spoilers review or talk, however you want to look at it. And with that said, Sam, you ready to give a rating to Castlevania?
Yes.
So our rating system is loved it, liked it, it's okay.
It's okay.
Yeah, well, I would figure if we didn't like the show, we wouldn't finish it.
Yeah, but then you can't review it.
Yeah.
Shouldn't you be able to review shows you didn't like?
Yeah, but if I don't like a show, I'm not going to finish it.
Yeah, that's fair.
So if you want to jump in the comments and be like, hey, have you watched this show? And be like, yeah, we started watching it, and then like there's no review on it. We didn't like it. That's just the way it is.
All right,
what it is.
Let's get on with it.
All right, Castlevania. Loved it, liked it, it's okay. So we finished it, so.
We did.
Got a rating for it. 3, 2, 1.
It's
Loved
okay.
it. No.
Hey, you know what? I gave it a chance. I didn't have to.
Let's get into it. Start the show.
For someone who is not familiar with Castlevania, how would you explain this show?
So Castlevania is a adaptation of a video game from the Super Nintendo days, and it tells the story of Dracula, who's trying to eliminate the human race from the face of the earth, and then this ragtag group of it's a ragtag group made up of a vampire hunter, a magician, and actually Dracula's son, who want to stop him from wiping out the human race. Mm-hmm. So one of the things I liked most about this show is that the first episode is dedicated entirely to Dracula. The whole reason he wants to kill the human race is because the human race, this takes place in like Victorian periods, and Dracula's wife is a human, and he taught her his knowledge about how to fight disease, cure ailments, and the people of this town, I can't remember what city they're in, but they, through her sort of practices of science, they think she's a witch, so they burn her at the stake. When Dracula comes home from traveling, he finds that his wife has been burned alive, and at this moment, he vows revenge against the human race, and he feels like they are a plague on the earth, and they need to be wiped out. Mm-hmm. So then enter our heroes of the story, which is we meet Belmont, who comes from a long lineage of vampire hunters, and he is the last of his family. And then you have mages called speakers, I believe they're speaker mages. And Belmont befriends a female in this group, and she agrees to go with him to fight against Dracula. Together they uncover a tomb where they find Dracula's son, and when they find Dracula's son then also agrees to fight against Dracula with them because Dracula's son is half human. So he believes that his mother wouldn't want to see the human race annihilated. And so he vows to help Belmont and the Seeker Mage to stop Dracula. And that is essentially the first season of the show. We're doing both seasons here. So that's the first season.
It's a lot of information for 4 episodes.
That is 4 episodes. But what I really liked about the first season, and it's the thing that I liked about the first season more so than the second season, and this is an animated series, it's a cartoon show, and it's incredibly graphic. It's not for kids. People have their heads chopped off, you're seeing blood, guts.
It's graphic.
It's graphic. It's very, very graphic. And one of the things I liked most about the first season is that it was very tight. It wasn't bloated.
Okay, so the reason I gave it an okay for me is that I really liked the first season and half of the second season. And then I kind of got sidetracked and I was good.
Yeah. So the first season is very tight. It's 4 episodes. It is what I described. It's essentially Dracula's uprising to eliminate the human race. We're introduced to all the characters, and I feel like the first season pretty much introduces the 4 main characters that we follow in the 12 episode series that it is right now.
Right.
And it's filled with immense character, great action, and high stakes. Now, for me, where the show faltered just a tad bit is that the second season I felt like was 2 episodes too long.
I actually thought that it was a little repetitive almost.
Because the second season features a lot of plotting, a lot of planning, and it's a lot of talking. It's a lot of setting things up.
Yeah.
So the first 5 or 6 episodes of season 2 is sort of like moving pieces, chess pieces on a chessboard. But then once all the pieces are in place, the final 2 episodes were, I'd say probably the final 3 episodes were absolutely incredible. That's when all the stuff just like, all the action just explodes.
Right.
You have armies, you have fighting, you've got good versus evil. It's just a lot of stuff on the plate in those last 3 episodes. And then the final episode's a lot of setup for what feels like a 3rd season that's going to come.
Yeah, I mean, the ending of... I would watch the 3rd season. I'm excited for the 3rd season.
Oh, 100%.
And
It's
even though I thought...
The
It is a quick watch. The ending was very cool. The ending... really got the very final scenes really got my attention.
So one of the other things I really liked about this show was how much of a character they made Dracula. Dracula's not just a mindless monster. Not that Dracula's ever a mindless monster, but this particular interpretation of Dracula probably has the most character that I've seen in a really long time for the Dracula character. He was someone that loved his wife immensely, and you feel that. I mean, that's what the entire first episode is dedicated to, is how much he loved his wife. So, essentially, when the crap hits the fan, like, you and Dracula's as mad as he is, you resonate with that.
Right.
You know, there's a part of you, like, what Dracula is doing is completely wrong, but there's a part of you that's like, yeah, but some of those people he's killing kind of deserved it.
Yeah.
And it's a twisted sense that they make you feel as a viewer, which is what I really liked. It's not just Dracula's a bad guy and he deserves to die. It's Dracula's a bad guy, but you feel for him.
Which I think when you are able to do that in a TV show, especially an animated show like this, that's pretty impressive.
Yeah.
Like, that's very impressive to be able to watch an animated series like this and feel for Dracula in the sense that you did.
I also really liked the other things that I pretty much liked all the characters in the show. They're all, I felt like, were really 3-dimensional. No one really felt flat except for maybe like some of the vampire generals that you meet in season 2. But like Belmont is a fully fledged character, and he's great. He's a vampire hunter that doesn't want to be a vampire hunter anymore.
He was my favorite character.
Yeah,
I definitely really liked him.
He's fantastic. He's very sort of, I'm not sure what the word I'm looking for, but he doesn't want to help the people hunt Dracula. He wants to be left alone. He's just a passerby, and he just happens to be in the same city that Dracula is attacking when Dracula starts attacking the human race. And he's essentially just like, just let me leave. I don't want to be a part of your war. Just leave me alone.
Right.
But through the circumstances, he gets dragged into the war. He finally comes full circle and actually sort of embraces his vampire hunting heritage and becomes the warrior he was meant to be. There's a lot of callbacks to the Castlevania series that I liked. His weapon, the whip, the imagery. There's a lot of things that you even take out of, like when Dracula is talking to a city, it's like his head's made out of like a swarm of bats. That really looks like it could be taken from the cover of one of the video games. This is an adaptation where someone didn't look at the video game and go, yeah, let's do our own thing with it. It was, let's turn that video game into a series that represents that video game.
I'm wondering if I would have liked it more if I had played that video game.
The video games, I mean, they're Super Nintendo, regular Nintendo games. The stories,
no.
I mean, you could essentially, it's not like, so here's one of the things that, I mean,
question.
Yeah.
Do you have to play the video game to understand this?
No.
Okay, what were you saying?
So Castlevania inspired a video game series that came out of, I want to say about maybe like 8-10 years ago, Dark Souls. And then through Dark Souls, we got Bloodborne. And I feel like Bloodborne and Dark Souls inspired this iteration of Castlevania.
Bloodborne is the reason why I started playing video games. So when we watched this, I did really see a lot of connections, and that is what got me interested in this show at first.
Yeah, and there's a lot of, I feel like there's a lot of influence from from video games in general of the Castlevania, sort of like the Castlevania tree of video games. So you got Castlevania, Dark Souls, Demon Souls, you've got Bloodborne.
I was looking at it and I was like, I looked at you and I was like, that looks really familiar. And you're like, it's the Canehurst Castle, or similar to the Canehurst Castle. And I was like, yes, it is.
Yeah.
I was so excited. I was like, that's the coolest thing I've ever seen.
And I feel like this TV series, this is like sort of like a 360 circle, because Castlevania inspired Dark Souls and Bloodborne. Now Dark Souls and Bloodborne is inspiring the Castlevania TV series. So that was just for gamers in general. I feel like there's a lot of nice touches in there for people that game, like we do. We both game. And so with that said, everything about this show I just thought was tremendous. Second season I felt like it was a little long. Probably could have done with probably 2 episodes shorter in the second season. Probably could have condensed seasons 1 and 2 to just 10 episodes. But even with that said, episode 7 of season 2 is absolutely spectacular. A lot of people are like, reference like, that's the hype episode. And I 100% agree.
I think if it had ended there, I would have liked it more.
I did like the final episode though, because the final episode feels like,
couldn't they have like turned it into a 45-minute episode and taken that and just put it into the 7th episode and ended it there?
Could have. You probably could have done something like that.
Yeah.
But the final episode then sets up things to come. The action, there's a little bit of action in the very final episode, but it's really just setting up things to come.
Okay.
So was there anything else besides the sort of longer episode take of the second season that you didn't like?
It's not that I didn't like anything. I think that it was just different from what I normally watch. So at first it was very exciting because it was new. And then after a while, I just kind of was just there to watch it.
Yeah.
So I don't think that there's anything that I necessarily didn't like. I just think that if I had watched the 4 episodes and then come back a year later and watched season 2, maybe it would have had a different effect on me. But because we watched it straight through, I'm wondering if I just kind of, not that I got uninterested, I just was like, okay, I got it.
It also got a little confusing from time to time because there is so much plotting going on.
Maybe that, I mean, I was asking you a lot of questions.
There is some like backstabbing going on between, again, like I said, it's like a chess match in season 2. So it's not just the hunters going after Dracula, it's people within Dracula's castle also trying to plot against Dracula.
I was asking you a lot of questions that I was trying to figure out. I was like, wait, huh?
And I felt like
Can you explain this?
I didn't necessarily need all the backstabbing stuff that was happening at the
it gives it, I mean, it gives it some drama, but if it's like continuous, it's almost too much. You're like, all right, I get it.
Yeah, I felt like you probably could have dialed some of that back, streamlined it, probably taken 2 episodes out of season 2 and just condensed season 2 to 6 episodes and just have it be the war against the people in the vampire army. But with that said, it's still one of the best video game adaptations that I have ever seen.
What other ones are there?
They've made plenty. Earlier this year, we had Rampage with The Rock, which was a video game adaptation.
Oh, I'm thinking like video game adaptations in TV series, not necessarily movies, because I know there's a lot of those.
Yeah. You know, we had Assassin's Creed last year, which I never saw, but apparently is horrible.
I didn't see that one.
No, we didn't see that one.
That was when I wasn't interested in Assassin's Creed, but now I kind of like the Assassin's Creed video games. So I've played a couple of them.
All right, so that's it for me. Is that it for you?
That's it for me.
All right. Let us know what you thought of this series if you've watched it in the comments below. If you haven't seen it, are you excited to watch it? If you haven't watched it and you got Netflix, watch it. It's fantastic. It's a great watch. And like and subscribe if you'd like to see more. We also did a review for Creed 2, so check that out. And as always, we'll see you next time, guys. Thanks for watching.